Hello and good morning. Today is the 29th of May 2024 and I'm going to go through my trading plan for today. Sorry for the delay, there's some issue with YouTube. It just took ages and ages to make sure it's still working to pick up the stream, and I had to reset a few times. Anyway, on my screen we're looking at the ES, the daily, and just want to quickly go through the daily before we start. And then I like to work from a higher time frame, work backwards. So we can see we've just zoom out a bit. We've been on this big bullish run for quite a few months now. We pulled back a bit of decent volume on the pullback, and then we made another all-time high, but on reducing volume. The big thing that stands out is this potential reversal candle on Thursday. Big red candle, volume to go with it, and so we've got a few key areas. We're right at a key area right now in the pre-market, and we're in this area of demand. And so the key thing is, are we going to hold the bottom of this Thursday low, or are we just going to bounce and put in a new all-time high? So I'm watching that area both on the daily and on the hourly for a potential bounce. We've got a big area of confidence as well. Tops of candles, bottoms of candles, tops of candles, and we've got a bit of volume in that area as well. So it's a potential bounce area. But if we can't hold it and we break down, then we could be looking at a bit of a trend reversal. You could say we've got a bit of a head and shoulders pattern in there, not a clear one. You know, a pivot there, and one thing to note as well is when we did pull back, we had average volume on this pullback as well. You know, it was increasing volume. We had a red day. What day is that? Today. We've had basically given back the last 2 days worth of green. So let's go to the hourly, and before we start, let's take a look at potential news which could be affecting the market today. So today's Wednesday the 29th. So we've got not a great deal. We've got some news at 10, nothing which can move the market. I'm looking for 2 or 3 on the bars. So we've got Fed speaking at 1:45, we've got the beige book at 2, and that's it. So just keep an eye on 1:45 and 2 PM today if you're still trading then. Okay, so let's look at some levels. This is the hourly chart for the ES, and we're kind of in this big bounce demand area, so we're kind of watching that. I had a level here which was set yesterday. It's been set for some time, and you came in pre-market, touched it, bounced, so it was a good level. I wasn't around for that. In fact, twice it put in a double bottom in the pre-market, and then we've broken down through that area. So what I'm looking for is a reversal within this area. I did take a bounce earlier when we get about there, I think it was, and I think I've stopped out of it now. So it was more of a break of the 5-minute and 2-minute trend, and I was looking for a pullback and then a double bottom, and it looked like it was going to go. It just tagged me in and then stopped me out. So a bit annoying, but it is what it is. So I'm looking now for the break of this trend. So let's just put a trend line in. This is the hourly trend. So what we really want to see is a break of this trend. If we were looking for a reversal, and potentially, let's just get my pen back. So we have this area all the way down to 52.75 for a bounce, and we're kind of quite extended from the 8 moving average. We're extended from the reroute. We're extended from the 20, and we always want to get, as you can see, the market always wants to get back to the 20. So we are looking for a bit of a, could be coming up for a bit of a reversal shortly, so we'll see what happens when the market opens. So let's just get some levels. So I'm watching for a reversal in this zone, so anywhere from where we are now, 52.83 down to 52.76, 52.75, that area, and there's a bit of confidence as well. There's not a great deal of volume there. Let's zoom out a bit more. So you can see it is an area of confidence as well. We've got, where are we, down here, so we've got bottom of that pivot there, we came up into that area there before we broke through, tested it there a few times, tested it here, bottoms of candle, so it's a significant area. There's a bit of volume there as well, so we could watch this area for a bounce. And then if we do break down and we can't hold that area and we break down through first day's low, we've got another bounce area. We can watch this area of demand. You can see volumes in there as well, so that could be our area of support. And so I'm watching 52.50 to 52.60, this area also for a bounce. So that's my two bounces, and I do quite like the rejection if we get back up to the 53.20, 53.12 to 53.20 area confluence, lots of volume. You can see from the left on the volume profile. The point of control goes right through this area as well. We've got bottoms of pivots as well and tops of pivots, so it's a significant area. So I'm watching 53.20 for a rejection, and that's it really. They're my only plays. Break and retest long. Not sure I like going long into all this overhead resistance, and no, not today. And then the break and retest short, potentially. If we break below, we'll see what happens in the pre-market low. We've got a bounce area down here. I'm really looking for a bounce. But if we do break this area and we come back and retest it, 53.75, so 53.76, I'll be looking for maybe a break and retest short with a next target or bounce area down at 52.50. Let's look at SPY. Let's go to SPX next. And what levels are we watching there? So we gapped down overnight, so we'll be watching this 52.62 area bounce. Coming off of the reason I like it, we've got a big area up here where we had a couple of double tops and it's a volume shelf. So we're currently in I imagine we'll be opening up around this area, and we are currently in a bit of a volume void on the volume profile. So the next volume shelf is at this point, and it happens to be where we got these pivots. So I quite like the bounce down at 52.62, and then we can obviously watch 5300 for a rejection, that area. And that's it really. If we do break down, we've got this ascending wedge area where we had a bit of volume come in as well, and it's an area of confluence. So we can watch this area 52.10 to 52.20 for a bounce as well. So let's look at SPY next. So I'm keeping an eye on the 5-minute ES, because I'm actively looking for a break of trend. SPY, okay, we don't need that anymore. Same really, so let's just draw the zone in there. So we've got this bounce area which are kind of coming right into it right now. In fact, 525.85, it's an area I've got for a bounce, and we've touched it in the pre-market and we're bouncing from it. So potentially it's looking like a decent trade right now. It's a high risk pre-market trade. If we get down into this area 525, I quite like that for a bounce as well. And then obviously we've got this area down here 522.16 all the way down to 520.50, which I'll put a level in for a bounce as well. Not the biggest fan of that one because there's not much volume, but I prefer this one because we've got the volume below. So 522 down to 520.56 for a bounce. And that's the area I like really on SPY. Let's look at NQ next. Let's get rid of that. I'll keep this in place for now. You can see there's kind of a head and shoulders pattern. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder over here. Neckline, if we joined. Maybe put these pivots together, something like that. Around that area, we'll find out when we put that, when that shoulder comes in. Bounce wise, I quite like the bounce here at 18.677. You can see this area of confluence, lots of touches, and so that's the only place I'm watching for a bounce. And rejection wise, yeah, I do quite like this area, and that's only because we've got tops and bottoms of pivots. And 18.83, 18.840 basically for rejection. Excuse me. So that's the areas on NQ I like. QQQ, there you go, look, I've already got a level up there, it's very similar. So 457.80 for the rejection, and again same as NQ. And then the bounce I do quite like round here at 452. Got a bit of volume as well on the profile. We've got the point of control, so we can get down into 452, watch that for a bounce. And we've got tops and bottoms of candles, a pivot there, in a bit of a demand, area of demand as well, we can mark that in. So anywhere in that area we can watch for a bounce. And that's it really for Qs. Crude oil, oh look at this, potentially a trend break. Close, so it's near to a level we're watching, so this is why it's of interest to me. Should put them together. So we haven't broken the trend yet, but potentially we've got left shoulder, head, watch for a right shoulder, and then a break of the trend, and then we can watch for a breakdown. Let's see, let's zoom out a bit, see where we are on the larger time frames. Yeah, so this is a significant area, so I'm not surprised we haven't made it up to that point, 80-90. I've just put in where the most touches were, but it's a zone, and it's this zone here, exactly where we are right now. Tops of that candle, it's a big zone, and we managed to get halfway there. So we're kind of, let's just draw that zone in so we make it clearer. Drawing the most recent, that area there. So we're looking at bottoms of pivots, if we go left a bit, tops of pivots over here, bottoms of pivots there, so that's a level, let's put a level in as well, and zoom in, and we're just right into that zone as well, so that's exactly where we want to be. So let's keep an eye on this one for potential rejection right now. And then bounce wise, firstly, if we continue this trend up, we can look for the break and retest on the pre-market high. It's with the trend, so break above 80.50 for the long, or pre-market high. And then if we get a bounce, kind of like that area, pre-market low for a bounce, it's just that pivot area as well. We may have already bounced in the pre-market, so watch for maybe a double bottom and continued trend, and then we can draw in a new trend line if that happens. So keep an eye out for this pattern first, and then maybe the break and retest short of pre-market low. So that's oil, 80, well basically 80 is $80 for the break and retest pre-market low on a head and shoulders pattern only. This is gold, downtrend. Let's get rid of some of these. Keep that one in. Let's just make an adjustment because I'm sure if I readjust it to that pivot, look at that, it's almost spot on. Downtrend, low volume pullback, break of this flag pattern. You can see that there. And now we're coming in for the break and retest, so potentially I quite like the short at yesterday's low, that area there, so we retested, so watch for short right now. Area of confluence, point of control as well, so this area probably where we are right now, so I'd say right now is a short area, high risk. I'm going to keep an eye on that. And then we've got a target of the lows of that Thursday, and then bounce. If we get down into, we can watch, so let's just move that to that area because that's now the new area to watch. Like that area as well for a bounce, 23.14 for a bounce, and we can watch 23.30, 23.28 for a bounce, a double bottom. And if we're short, we can use these as targets as well. Target 1, break and retest. Target 2 maybe, and that you can add just there as well. It's a good add point. So let's find an entry for the short. Let's see what happens when the market opens. If we can get back up onto this trend line. Yesterday's low, VWAP, and then this 50 moving average with the red line. We can watch that area 23.50 for rejection, and that will be a break and retest of this flag pattern. Okay, so that's looking pretty bearish right now. RTY. Okay, well, I was going to say a bounce of that pivot, but we've broken that pivot. And we've got this void below now. Where can it bounce? Down here. I got an alert. I don't know where my level is. I quite like that area there for a bounce. 20.22 for a bounce. I'll keep the alert in place because we'll be watching that area. Or if we come back and pull up and we retest this zone, there's a little bit of volume over here to the left. So there might be a few sellers still sitting there. So we can watch the break and retest of 20.45 through to 20.50, that area. Look at that for a nice double top in Monday as well. Couldn't put in a new high, rejected it. That's good. And at a level we've been watching. So hopefully somebody got that. So we've been watching these levels for some time now. Area confluence, break and retest short, we talked about that. Came back up into that area twice and rejected. So that would have been a decent trade. If we do see a bit of buying, then we can watch for the rejection. I quite like that area there, 20.80. There's bottoms of those pivots there, tops of these pivots, bottom of that pivot, and maybe the bottom of that pivot over there. So a little bit of confluence. And also we've got the volume point of control in this area as well. So this area we can watch for a rejection. And then YM, which is the Dow Jones. It's looking pretty weak as well. So that point, that level we had there, we broke through, came back and retested it perfectly retested it. So let's find a potential bounce area there. Reason I like is tops of these candles, bottoms of these candles. We've not yet tested it. 38,600 basically. Is that right? Yeah, it's a roundish number. And tops of pivots, and a bit of volume in that area as well. So we can watch 38,600 for a bounce. And then if we pull back up into this area, I quite like the rejection. I'm going to move that level now. Oh, it's a tough one because there are two decent areas there. We'll stay there as well, keep that in place. So we can watch for rejection at 38,950 to 3900. Psychological number of 39,108, that area there where we bombed out for a bit and then broke down. And then Bitcoin, we can see this pattern coming in now. Let's just join that together. And we've got this level here as well, let's put that in as well. So a bit of this wedge, descending wedge pattern. And we're in the lower half of this pattern as well, which to me means that we might be looking at a bit of weakness. So potentially we could be down there looking for the breakdown. We'll see where we are with that. Let's look on the daily, for Bitcoin. When you look at the daily, it looks stronger than it does weak. So total opposite, we're now holding this level. So that's why I like looking at the daily. So we're holding this level, area confluence as well, bottoms of candles, tops, kind of bottoms and more, quite a few touches there. Tops here, bottoms there. Tested it again. So we can that's the pattern we were just looking at. So potentially we can look for it to break out and then put in new highs, or we can look for it to break down, come back up, retest and go short. Got the point of control down at 61,800, and then we've been looking at this inverse potential head and shoulders pattern, and we could be looking at the break and retest of that pattern right now. So 2 plays really. We can watch for the break over 70,000 to go long. That's the break and retest of that head and shoulders pattern. Or we can look for the break below these shoulders for a bounce, maybe around 58,900, 58,000. Or we can look for the breakdown of this pattern as well. Let's draw that in better. So we've got this pattern forming. So we're going to have a look for the break below there, or the break above there. So a couple of plays on Bitcoin. And then let's just go back to ESC where we've been for the last few minutes. So we seem to be holding that area now in the pre-market. So see what happens when the market opens, which is in 5 minutes time. Let's just go into the 5-minute chart. Look at that, lots of volume, potential ending volume there. Big downtrend. And we can probably draw in this trend as well. Got another trend there potentially. And we've got this area here to watch for a double bottom. So we've broken it. We could come back up, retest it for the short. So that's one potential play, 52.88. Or if we break the trend line, we can look for a break and retest for this trend line long. That's what I'll be watching for today. And then I'll just recap the levels. Go back to the hourly. So I'm looking for a bounce in this area. That's why I quite like looking for a double bottom or a bounce. So that's between 52.75 to 52.85. We're right in that zone now, so it's high risk because it's close to the market open, but that's the area I'm watching for a bounce. If we get up, if we do see a bit of a rally, then I'm watching 53.12 through to 53.20 for rejection. And then if we sell off, if I'm watching for a break and retest of that pivot short with a target of 52.50, where I'll be looking for a reversal and a bounce. And that's it really. Next up will be my order flow, which has been live now for about half an hour. I've now worked out I can stream more than one stream on YouTube at the same time, so I'll leave that streaming as long as I can. Order flow, what's that showing before the market opens? We're seeing a negative cumulative delta with negative price action, so it's in line with what you expect to see. Looking at the 30-minute filtered, let's just zoom out a bit. Now, if we come back up, we're looking for a area for a rejection. We're 53 to 20. 53.20. You've got to get through. You've got quite a lot of these yellow lines are the point controls of each candle, and you can see there's a thick area there. That's where it went sideways. And then 53.20. So 52.18, 52.19, we might see a potential area we can hold past stop loss. 52.20 above there. If it breaks these 2 point controls, that was post market, but I'm really looking for so 52, 53.25 we've got all these to the left, so that's going to be a big area to watch. 53.26, so we can hold our stops around that area. And what I'm looking at is the point of controls. So we've got, and if they're all in the same area, it's going to be a stronger area. I mean, you know, was originally sellers up there, so they may defend that position again when we come back up. So putting a stop just above those areas will be able to give you a much tighter risk to reward. That's why I like watching the 30-minute volumetric or 30-minute footprint, because if rather than me put my stop at the top of that candle, I can then put my stop there. If it's going to break that, it's most likely going to break the top of that as well. So 53.26 could be our reversal area. So keep an eye on that. What do we say? We're watching, back to the main screen, we were watching 53.20 and we said we could watch all the way up to 26. So all the way up to yesterday's high, that area there. So that's an area. Yesterday's high could be where our stop loss is. So keep an eye on that. Okay, thank you for watching. And if you like the video, don't forget to hit the like as well. Much appreciative. And I will be back live tomorrow at 9 AM. Thanks for watching.